All right, that's what the ribbit frog will do, guys. Come on up. See that? Ribbit frog. Stay tuned for some failed hook sets. Hey guys, Flipmaster here. What do you do when it's extremely hot out? Like right in the middle of the summer, we're approaching that now. There's a certain pattern that I like to look for in the fish. One of those being that I can't just go to a normal spot and throw anything and catch a fish. In fact, this is the time of the year when people get disgusted by fishing and think, well, there's no fish out there, I can't get a bite. What do I do? Well, obviously the fish are still there, but they're acting in a different way. Number one, when we get these really, really bright days, like I have right now, very few clouds, extremely hot, it's up in the 90s. Where are the fish? So I'll give you a couple of pointers about that and what I like to use also for bait. But if you can see behind me here, I'm on the edge of a sort of an open area. Now, I'm not going to fish the open water in the middle of the day, but the open water is where a lot of these bass are going to get most of their protein. Most of the source of food is going to come from out in this open, or at least looser trees here in Bistineau. Now the same thing is going to apply no matter what the cover actually is. It may be grass in your lake or whatever, but where it's sort of sparsely, sparse grass, sparse trees, those sorts of things, where bait fish really can't get away. And a lot of times late in the evening what happens is that bait fish move in, bugs begin to descend and fall onto the water. Brim begin to go out and eat those. There are minnows and shad that move in. There are lots of food sources, and so the bass will get out there and roam in that and begin to eat that. But that's something that they'll do primarily earlier in the morning and later in the evening. Now, depending upon exactly where you are, what late in the evening means could be different for you. I know here in Bistineau, you know, it's going to be in the summertime 5 o'clock or so before the table starts to turn and the fish get more aggressive. But right in the middle of the day, at least from 10 o'clock to about 4 at least, right in the middle of the day, the tough part is that they're not going to be out there. In fact, you may not even see any movement out there. And if you do, it's probably a garfish or something like that. So what I like to do is to find the cover that's adjacent to the feeding area, right? Now, if I run off and half a mile through shade up a bayou to try to get to a place where maybe the fish are, that's probably not where most of the fish are. You may catch a few, but that's not going to support a big population of fish. The bigger population of fish are going to be near areas where there's a really plentiful food source, and it's going to be nearer a deeper area, but with heavy cover or shade somewhere for those fish to be able to hide in the middle of the day, especially in the bright sunlight. They're going to get up inside of that shade, or at least sit right in the edge of the shadows, right? They don't like to be out just exposed in the open. If I went to a bank line that, say, didn't have any trees or any grass to speak of, and began to fish that area, probably not going to catch very many, especially in the summertime. Now, I may catch them out on a drop or something like that, but probably not going to catch them just generally along the bank at that point if there's nowhere for them to hide. But if you can see behind me here, there's an edge of, there's some trees, there's some deadfalls and things that are sort of piled up, and there's going to be fish tucked in there, but they're probably not going to be super aggressive either. If you throw the bait 5 or 6 feet away from them, they may not come out and get it at all. You really probably need to be within, say, a 3-foot radius of where that fish is in order to get them to strike. At least that's what I've found. It's been productive for me. And so in order to do that, what I typically do, which I think I've showed before, is use sort of a flipping bait. And I don't know that it matters all that much which one you use. I would use one that you're comfortable with throwing, something that you're able to throw accurately. I use this one because I can throw it very accurately. I can place it probably within a few inch diameter circle so that I can hit right in between logs or right inside the little shadow spot. And I don't want to splash it in there and dive into the water. I want to just sort of place it in there as best I can. In order to do that, I can't use a really light weight. I have to use sort of a heavier weight, but I don't want it to be too big. And for that reason, I use titanium. I typically use 3/8 titanium weights, and I pin the weight. See, I'm holding the weight here so that it can't slide. And the reason I do that is because you're going to less likely to get tangled up, right? You know, sometimes you throw the line out there and it hits a little branch and the thing will wrap around there like 16 times and you've got to go and get it. Well, with the weight pinned to it, it's less likely to do that. Sometimes you'll hit that thing and it'll flip completely over the top, or you'll hit it and it'll spin under it. But with the weight connected to it, there's nothing that can sort of hang up for a moment just to get that thing spinning, right? So it tends to help out a lot. And this is the kind of bait I'm going to use in the middle of the day when the heat is on and the sun is up, so I can place it in those shadows. Now, the other bait that I think is really effective this time of the year is a frog. And really two basic types, right? Hollow body frogs, or something like this ribbit frog, which is, you know, just a solid soft plastic frog. And you just throw it out there and reel it in like a buzz bait. That's generally what I do anyway. Now you can do that in the middle of the day, and I've caught pretty good fish doing that, but it may not be as productive as the flipping bait because they may not move as much. But in the evening, as I was speaking about earlier, where the flipping bait may not be as effective, I can get on the edges of these open areas where the fish are going to come out and feed, and throw something like this, and they're positioned on that edge ready to go out and get that food, and you're going to pull it out of that shade, and right on the edge of that shade you're going to get strikes from these things, really big strikes, right? So it's sort of like they take a nap most of the day, and if food comes in right in front of them, they'll take it. If not, they're not chasing anything down. They wait until it cools off in the evening, the sun kind of moves out of the way a little bit, the shadows start to expand, and when those shadows start to expand, they have places to hide. And when they do that, they become far more aggressive. In fact, probably the most aggressive that they're going to be the whole year is in the deep summer, late in the evening, right before dark. That last hour or so, or hour or two before dark, they're going to get way more aggressive, and they're going to strike something like that, and it's a lot of fun. So that's what I do. This is what I plan on doing today. I'm going to go see if I can catch some fish. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. All right, guys, caught a few. Frog will produce, but most of the time when I'm fishing a frog, I have a lot of misses and missed hook sets, fish getting off. It's due to the nature of the size of that body, and really I need to have a little bit larger hook. But the failure on my part, other than the hook, is that whenever you're pulling that frog along and they smack it, if you immediately go and hit them right there, you're probably going to have an issue, because a lot of times when you're moving that frog, they're going to grab on the back end of it, and they may not have but the tip of the hook. So you really want them to go on and get the whole thing in their mouth so that you can get a good hook set. So let that be a lesson to you from me. Take your time. Don't get too excited. It's just hard whenever they're hitting on top of the water like that. But see you guys next time.